Welcome back to the Bleav in Jets podcast, a New York Jets podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network. My name is Rami Lavi. We'll do a quick instant reaction to the Jets loss. Look, tough loss for the Jets. I get it. But here's the thing. And I've said this, I wrote this on Twitter, and we'll talk more tomorrow. We have a lot of people. We'll talk to Antoine later in the week. So a lot to get into. This is just going to be a quick instant reaction to the Jets loss. And I wrote some notes down. I have some tweets that I saved. The Jets were not ready to play this game. The Jets were out physical. The Jets were out toughed. The Jets got shoved around. Their defensive line and their offensive line got shoved around. They weren't good in the trenches. I was texting with Bleav the whole game, and I can't wait to hear from him. I can't wait to hear from our guest tomorrow because he played offensive line in the NFL for the New York Jets. All that said, and by the way, Robert Saleh, this is every bit on Robert Saleh to me. This is very much on Robert Saleh. You're supposed to be the guy. This is supposed to be your defense. The reason we hype up this team was not because of a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers, was not because of the offensive weapons. Those were good, but those were unknown. Those are yet to be seen. We talk about this team the way we talk about this Jets team because of the Robert Saleh defense, because of the physicality, because of the toughness. And this Jets team fell short in every way on that. The defense fell short in every single way. And most of all, just weren't physical enough. And a lot of the times I was asking myself, and I asked Bleav, like, the arm tackles that they were doing, I don't understand. Is it because they didn't play enough in preseason? Were they not ready? Why was this Jets defense so soft? A defense that's supposed to be tough, that's supposed to mirror their head coach. I still don't know why, and I could look on Twitter real quick. I haven't had the opportunity yet. Why was Breece Hall, why was Sauce Gardner out of the game with no apparent injury? I don't know what was going on there. So there's a lot to unpack from this game, and Robert Saleh has a lot to answer. Look, Aaron Rodgers said it best before the game. Can't get too high from the highs, can't get too low from the lows. I said it before the game. I said the same thing. This is frustrating. This is extremely frustrating, and I'm not trying to sugarcoat that. All that said, last year's win, the walk-off win, as amazing as it felt in that moment, was the most devastating moment of Jets football in my life, was opening night last year. I'm not kidding. That's not hyperbole. Last year's win was truly devastating. This year's loss was 1,000 times better than last year's win. As much as I could sit here and be upset about the loss, and there are so many things to be upset about in this game, and mainly starts with Saleh and the defense and the toughness and the physicality. I get it. Aaron Rodgers is healthy. And not only that, because if Aaron Rodgers was just healthy, I would tell you that's not good enough. Not only is Rodgers healthy, the offense looked good. They got doubled up in plays. They couldn't really run the ball that well. But overall, Aaron Rodgers not only was healthy, he looked like Aaron Rodgers. Seeing Aaron Rodgers catch a guy off sides and throw the touchdown over the top that I've seen him do so many times, and I've rooted for him so many times to do elsewhere, and now he's doing it for my team on this Jets team in this city, that was amazing. This is exactly what I talked about with Bleav earlier today on the preview when we talked about what Alan Hahn wanted to see. We're used to losing. I've seen losing my whole life. I can deal with losing. I can live with losing. I couldn't deal with the devastation of Aaron Rodgers getting hurt again, of Aaron Rodgers being washed. And apparently, it looks like that's not the case. It looks like Rodgers is still going to be Aaron Rodgers. Is it going to take a couple of weeks for the offensive line to gel a little better? Is it going to take a couple of weeks for Breece Hall to get going? And by the way, Breece, you're not off scot-free in this game either. Breece Hall, my God, catch the ball. Don't fumble. He had opportunities in this game. He also had a hole. Bleav said he had a hole, and he didn't burst through the hole, and he could have gotten a big gain, maybe even a touchdown, Bleav said, when he was looking at the tape. So I trust BP. That's what he texted me. But look, this could be a lot worse. Now, once Christian McCaffrey was announced he wasn't playing, I did expect the Jets to win. And no, I never expected them to get blown out in this game. I told you the adjusted line I had was 6.5. I expected the Jets to be within a touchdown in this game, certainly. So yes, all that is frustrating. I'm not coming here to tell you that this was easy. This was, oh, don't worry, it's a loss. It's not a big deal. This is the NFL. Every game counts. This is a big game. It's an NFC opponent, one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league. It sucks. It's a tough loss. They have to come home. They have to regroup. They have to get better, go back on the road, and find a way to get it done in Tennessee. That's what you got to do. Overall, how could I be as upset as I was at this point last year? At this point last year, I was devastated. At this point last year, my heart was pulled out of me. At this point last year, I was furious. How could I feel that way about this Jets team right now? It's impossible to feel the same way about this Jets team right now. You can't. It's just not close to as devastating. So, as upset as I am, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm not upset. And I expected them to win. I expected them to play better. I didn't expect to just get manhandled and to look like they weren't ready to play football. They weren't ready to be physical. And you know what? A lot of that probably has to do with nobody playing in the preseason. Maybe I'm old school. If you don't tackle in the preseason, or you're not used to tackling, then how do you expect to come out here and play tough, physical, hard-nosed football? Deebo Samuel runs hard. Jordan Mason is one opportunity. He's going to run the ball hard. This offensive line hits for the Niners. The Jets D-line looks soft. Will McDonald, he got, exposed in this game. He is not a three-down guy. He's a rushing specialist. This is what we talked about. This was my concern before the game. Where was Jermaine Johnson? He didn't get any pressure on the quarterback either. We talked about this. One thing's for sure, Haason Reddick is sitting there stroking his meat to this. I'll tell you that much. Haason Reddick's got to be feeling really good about how tonight went for the Jets, because he's about to get a call from Joe Douglas saying, all right, big boy, we need you. And if anyone on the Jets defense takes issue with the Jets paying Haason Reddick before he's ever been in the building, well, guess what? You should have tackled better. Guess what? You should have showed a little bit more physicality. You should have shown a little bit more toughness. You can't come out here and be upset that a guy who's never played it down for you is going to get paid, because guess what? You clearly showed you need him. Every single Jets defensive player, all they talked about was, oh, we don't need him. We're good. We got this. We'd love to have him, but if he's not here, we'll be fine. You're not fine. You got handled on the offensive line. You got handled on defense. You were terrible up front. You were terrible in the run game. Arm tackles. Guys not finishing plays. Guys making mistakes. This is the Robert Saleh team we've come to see. So certainly a lot of things reared their ugly heads in this game. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This was a bad loss for the Jets. As bad as this loss is for the Jets, it was not close to as bad as the win last year. I'll keep coming back to that. The season is not over. You can't get too high with the highs. You can't get too low with the lows. I expect Aaron Rodgers to come back and be fired up next week against a team in Tennessee that isn't very good. I think this defense should get right with or without Haason Reddick against Will Levis, who looked awful on Sunday. So I'm not saying the season is over. I'm not saying any of those things. This is a long-ass season, and it's going to continue. There's going to be ups and downs. Ride the wave. When Rodgers got tackled the first time, did my heart skip a beat? When he got hit the first time? No, he got up, smiled. He almost had this look on his face like, man, I got that through. When he completed that pass on 3rd and 9 and just zipped it in there, he's like, I still got it. Catches them offside. This is all I wanted to see. This is all I ever wanted to see from this team. I'm not upset by this loss, or as upset as some people are. I'm frustrated with Saleh. I'm frustrated with the defense. And I thought Quinnen Williams did show up in this game. And sometimes it may seem like this podcast has some favoritism towards Quinnen Williams. Yes, we do. We love Quinnen. He's the best player on the team. And also he came on the pod. You come on the pod, we'll give you a little favoritism, maybe. But he was the best player on the defense in this game. Not close. And no one else was really that good, although I thought Quincy made some plays early. And early on, by the way, the Jets, they made some plays. They held them to field goals. But it just became too much. The Jets offense never really got in rhythm. And the drop by Allen Lazard, the drop by Breece Hall, the fumble by Breece Hall, those are all things that contributed to it. By the way, the catch on the sideline could have been a catch. It looked like Garrett did drag his heel down before he dropped the front and his toes. So that should have been a catch, which, by the way, not only did the Jets have a chance to keep that drive going, Rodgers stay in the game, but also I had a bet for 7 catches for Garrett Wilson. He ended with 6. My parlay would have hit plus 700 parlay, which is insane. I was furious. This was my long shot bet. Now, my other bet didn't hit because the Jets couldn't cover the freaking number. I did tell you that I thought the teams were going to put up more points. The Jets only put up 19, which, whatever. Again, not terrible. The late touchdown for Tyrod Taylor. And by the way, I mean, I get being protective of Aaron Rodgers, but at the same time, it still felt same old Jets-ish. Just like, oh, we're taking out Rodgers because we don't want him to get hurt. The only thing that can make this game worse is if Rodgers gets hurt. The Jets are right. I don't blame them, but still feels a little same old Jets-ish that they still feel that way. I don't want them to think that way. You know what I mean? But again, overall, tough loss, upsetting loss, a lot to clean up. The Jets have to be better. I want answers from Robert Saleh, both on the defense. I want answers on what happened with Sauce Gardner. Apparently, Sauce Gardner came out because he needed to catch his breath. That's what Saleh said. I don't know. That's weird. That's a weird thing. He was out for a bunch of plays on a big drive because he needed to catch his breath. Something's fishy there, I'll tell you that right now. Overall, again, I'm not mad. I'm disappointed, as anyone would be after a week 1 loss. The season's not over. It's a long-ass season. Aaron Rodgers looks like he's back, looks like he's healthy, and he looks like the guy that I've always rooted for and I've always hoped he would be for this team, even if he's 80% of the guy. Now, if it starts piling, if a 1 loss becomes 2 losses, becomes 3 losses, becomes more, I'll get upset. Trust me, this can get out of hand quick. And week 2 now looks like they need to at least show up. I can't have them look like shit in week 2. Look, if they looked good tonight and lost, then that would be one thing. Then that would be like, okay, week 2 is not a must-win game, because they looked good tonight. I need them to look good and damn good, and this defense look a lot better in week 2 against Will Levis. And by the way, the people who throw shade still at Brock Purdy's a really good quarterback. The people who disrespect Brock Purdy still, they're lost. They don't know what they're watching when they watch football. But again, I expect better from this team. There's no two ways about that. But at the same time, I'm not devastated. And only the Jets can do that to you. Have a win that is an emotional walk-off win on Monday Night Football against a division rival feel like a gut-wrenching loss. And have a blowout where they got outmanned, out-handled, out-everything, out-hustled, out-muscled, as Clyde Frazier would say, on Monday Night Football in San Francisco, still feel almost like a win. Well, the New York Jets experience. Tomorrow, we'll have Bilal Powell. We'll have Willie Colon. The next day, or maybe the other way around, but we'll see, we'll have Antoine Staley. Lots of stuff to get to, and then we'll have a preview pod. We'll do it all over again. We'll preview Sunday's game against Tennessee. It's going to be a long-ass season. Come along for the ride with us. Rodgers is here. Garrett Wilson looks great. It's going to be a long season. There's going to be ups and downs. Ride the wave. Till next time, like, subscribe, share the podcast. I appreciate you all for listening. My name is Rami Lavi. This is Bleav in Jets. See ya.